granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Some of you might not have seen this. Some of you might still think that the BBC is, in general, a beacon of truth and honesty. They have a problem with Israel, but apart from that, a beacon of truth and honesty. I want to tell you, not so. Because, oh gosh, as I have often heard and sometimes said, it starts with the Jews, but it never ends there. And, the BBC have actually doctored a video making Trump say what he didn't say. The President of America. They doctored the video. And, I have to say that despite the fact that I knew there were problems in the BBC, I really am shocked. This is not a pretend, for the clicks shock. I am truly shaken by this news, by what happened here. I'll play it to you and I'll point out what they did. Very clever, by the way. Technically, couldn't be faulted. Okay, I'm granniopteryx. Please like this video, please share it. Please subscribe to my channel. If you're on YouTube, remember, you may not be as subscribed as you thought. So please subscribe and click the notification button. That does help as well. Okay, if you want to contribute financially to my channel, that's lovely. All the links to various methods whereby you might do that are in the description. All right, I'll get on now with this heartbreaking task of telling you what awful liars the BBC have turned into. They have turned into a monster. I just can't get over this. All right, let's get on with it. Yeah, I suppose it's not the first time, by the way. Some of you may remember this incident. The BBC has today apologised to the Queen after admitting it misrepresented her by implying she stormed out of a photo shoot with American photographer Annie Leibovitz. What happened was she was walking in to the photo shoot and they implied that she had walked out of there, that the shot of her walking into the room was a shot of her walking out of the room in a fury because she got annoyed with Annie Leibovitz. This was an important photo shoot prior to the Queen's visit to the United States. In this trailer, there's a sequence that implies that the Queen left the sitting prematurely. This was not the case, and the actual sequence of events was misrepresented. Okay, so if they would do that to the Queen, that was in 2007, by the way, so it's nearly 20 years ago. So if they do that to the Queen, well, yeah, why shouldn't they do it to Donald Trump as well? Let me show you what they did. This is what he said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Okay, that was what he said. And then it was a very long speech. He's good at very long speeches. About an hour later, he said something about fighting, but that was in another context altogether. This is what the BBC did to that whole speech.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
Right. And so I just want to show you what happened here. They show the crowd. Then they show Trump saying, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And then to disguise the cut, they show the crowd again. but his voice is playing over it. And then it says, I'll be there with you. And then they cut again. And we fight like hell. Do you see? And when you're watching that, you just see it as shots of the crowd and him talking. But you see it as a continuous piece. I'll play that again to you and you'll see how they do.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Cut.
And we fight.
Cut back.
We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Right. And then later on he was talking about fighting like hell, but in a different context entirely. So that's what the BBC did. You know, actually, it breaks my heart. It really does. Now, I want to tell you a story from when I was working at the BBC. We were at a script meeting, and the producer of the show was saying that we were discussing Israel. I mean, Israel always comes up in BBC meetings. They're pretty well obsessive about it. And this producer said, the Israelis executed 5 Palestinians last week or whenever it was. And so I wasn't sure about this. And I said, are you sure about that? Because they don't, as far as I know, they actually don't have a death penalty in Israel. And so she said, yeah, they did here. And she got some stuff and she showed us. And it turned out that it was, I'm saying 5, it might have been 4. I don't remember exactly the numbers, but it was a small group of people, at the time, I don't think it was Hamas, PLO. They'd got into Tel Aviv or something and started shooting the place up, and the Israelis shot them. So they were killed in a running gun battle of some sort. I don't remember the circumstances. So she showed that, and I said, but that's not executing anyone, that's shooting, just shooting gunmen. That was a running battle. And she said, it doesn't matter, they were executed anyway. And that was her take on the situation. And that was a long time ago. So the BBC have had this attitude for, a fair amount of time. But I thought at the time, well, it's just their obsession with Israel. I didn't pay attention to that adage that keeps cropping up, that it starts with Jews, but it never ends with Jews. And I should have picked that up as a red light. But you have to understand, I was so in love with the BBC. I was so loyal to them. I thought it was such a remarkably good and honest and decent organisation. It takes a long time to rid yourself of that sort of perception. And I thought, well, that's just one small part of it. But it's not like that all the way through. I didn't realise that, it's like the mould in sort of mould in Stilton, You don't just get the blue line through one little corner of it. It's all over the cheese. And this guy was exposing this. So he's giving an interview to GB News. Let's hear what he has to say.
That Panorama documentary that we're now talking about, something which nobody had really spotted at the time. The chap who wrote this report, Michael Prescott, he had seen the programme and he was very suspicious of it. He thought it didn't seem right. It seemed very biased to him. So he asked for a review of the programme, which then threw up this fact that they had spliced the Trump speech into, they'd taken 2 parts, put them together, made it seem like he was speaking one fluent sentence, telling people to go to the Capitol and fight. He didn't say that at all.
Right, and that was a Panorama programme about the election that he's talking about. So Panorama, in case you don't know, is the flagship BBC programme which is supposed to give the truth, that we're supposed to give a true situation, an accurate report about some important issue of the news. I honestly, I'm sorry, I don't know what more I can say. And it's not because I lack the words. It's because I lack the heart. This actually has affected me more than I could possibly convey to you. It's like an old friend suddenly betraying you. Or rather, it's like somebody you thought of as an old and stalwart friend, and you discover that they've been robbing you your whole life. Yeah. Imagine that. You find your bank account is empty, and this friend has been withdrawing money from your bank account for years. That's what it feels like. Because my emotional bank account was in the BBC. And of course I used to pay my licence fee. I was very strict about that until a few years ago, when I started to realise that there was something wrong. But I didn't realise how wrong. All right. Well, yeah, that's it. Betrayal. It's betrayed me, it's betrayed you, it's betrayed anybody who has been watching it and paying a licence fee. Of course, it's not the only example of betrayal, this. Yes, I understand that. But
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
right, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.